Hey everyone, welcome back to NFA Review channel. Today we have a new suppressor company on the channel for the first time, Siege Suppressors, and their new model, the ROC556 or the ROC556 for short. Now all my Patreon members already know what's coming because I've already told them, but Siege Suppressors extended a 1-year minimum contract to provide all of my gold members on Patreon a free tax stamp anytime they buy one of their suppressors through me on Patreon. So pretty cool. I don't get a kickback at all from Siege. This is just a way that I offer you guys a little something in return for supporting the channel here. So I will have well over 20 industry discounts now on Patreon, so that's pretty cool. I have sneak peek. I have already shot this. I'm actually filming this in reverse and it did very well. The tone was very, very pleasing, especially for a 5.56 can, which as you know can be a little annoying to shoot. But I don't want to ruin too much because we do need to cover it in depth here on the studio, and then we'll take you to the outside shooting scenes and you guys can see just how it did. Let's go ahead and get to it. All right, first things first, nice box. On the front here, you'll see a QR code to go to their manual. It's actually a pretty smart way of doing it here. Saves them from having to pay a company to come up with a printed manual. A lot of you guys don't realize how expensive that is. It's actually quite quippy. I'll throw that up on the screen so you guys can check it out. Now in the box, you'll have, of course, a suppressor. Again, I've already shot it. And then 2 of their takedown tools. All right, let's go ahead and cover the specs, and then we'll hit the range as usual. Comes in at an overall length of 7.65 inches, a diameter of 1.5 inches, and it weighs in at 18 ounces. Materials, precipitation hardened stainless steel and Inconel. The finish, as you can see, is very nice. This is a black nitride. I actually prefer black nitride over the Cerakote, but they do also have a flat dark earth colorway option. As far as your barrel restrictions listed on their website right now, it says no minimum barrel length restrictions. Firing schedule, it is full auto rated. It does have a 1.375 by 24 hub. Thank you for that. Again, I say this a lot. Thank you, industry, for all getting on the same page so all of us out there with a box full of mounts can enjoy any suppressor that we wish to. Caliber is, of course, 5.56 only, and your MSRP comes in at, on their website, $1,049. And again, I mentioned earlier, anybody who is a gold member on my Patreon will get a free tax stamp from Siege on any suppressor that they purchase through them. All right, now that we got the boring stuff out of the way, let's cover what sets the Siege apart from other suppressors in the industry, and then of course, we're gonna hit the range and get right to it. First things first. They do not use a traditional baffle stack. I'm going to throw you up a B-roll shot here of a high-speed test that they did, that they sent me when they reached out for the testing evaluation of this new product. So traditional baffle stacks use what's called a turbulent flow for the flow path of the gas. Once the bullet goes through the bore line, the gas behind the bullet will hit the front face of the blast baffle and then go to the outside wall of the can and then leak to the next baffle, so on and so forth. Now, while that does work great, and it is the traditional sense of things, it does increase back pressure to a point where all these suppressors are getting tricky with machining and 3D printing and new baffle stacks such as this. So what they use is a laminar flow path. So if you can look at the cutaway again, I'll throw it up. They use a linear diffuser array, is what they call it, and it basically is exactly how it sounds. You have a bunch of, looks like wafers almost, through there with the flow path through the middle. But what happens is when the bullet goes through the bore line, the gas goes through the outer wall first and is directed down the outer wall of the suppressor, and it flows freely without causing turbulence. The big takeaway here is that laminar flow path is less disruptive the way it gets things done. And because of the machining, they actually have 5 times the surface area of a normal traditional baffle stack inside. So that's where you're going to get that 18-ounce heft from That being said, anytime you have more surface area, you're going to be able to cool and absorb the heat. So you're going to be able to cool the gases and slow them down in a new way. And anytime you can slow and cool the gases more efficiently, you're going to have a better sounding suppressor. And that's why when I went out and shot it on the range already, it had a very low, pleasing tone to my ears. I could have shot this sucker all day. Pretty neat. It is not a takedown suppressor, so I can't really show you that here in studio, but I have that beautiful B-roll they supplied so you can kind of get the gist of what I am talking about. Front cap itself, you can take it apart. These flash hider on the front will correspond with the takedown tool. You can swap that out should you like. And of course the rear 1/2x28 mount that is included you can remove. And of course, remember I mentioned earlier, you can use any standard hub mounting system that you want on their suppressor. Wanted to note that if you wanted to run this in an AR-15 SD type setup, which I don't really recommend because these things radiate so much heat and your handguards are going to get pretty toasty. However, if you do want to go for that look and you want to inset this underneath your handguard a bit and you screw it on and then you take it off and then this gets stuck down in there, you don't have to take off your handguard because they do have a socket head here where you can drop an extension and a ratchet underneath your handguard down to where your barrel is and unscrew this. So thank you for thinking about that. So that was pretty cool. Your serialized information, as you can see, is at the very front, hanging on the edge here by these spanner splines that they so eloquently machined into the rear suppressor. So let me grab these takedown tools here. You can see what I mean. Should you need to swap out a mount, you would just insert the tool as such over the splines on the rear suppressor and then use it to remove this or install another one that you have, so on and so forth. So pretty cleanly integrated into the back of the suppressor. And again, if you can blow up this suppressor way back here where the serialized information is, kudos to you. We need to talk because that's pretty badass that you were able to destroy it that horribly. But that leads me to my next topic, and this is something that I hope more companies go to. When I scanned the QR code earlier and was thumbing through their manual, something caught my eye, and that was their warranty. And verbatim, it's called the Siege Bulletproof Warranty, no questions asked warranty. So what that means is you can blow this thing up, including this little area right here, if you're really talented, and send it in your pieces, and they will provide a new suppressor for you at no charge, no questions asked. So pretty cool. I hope other companies take that lead. They're not the only ones that do it, but I vaguely remember 5-6 years ago, pretty much every company had a warranty like that. And now you don't see that much anymore. You could spend 5 minutes searching through Reddit or a Facebook gun group, and you'll find a lot of complaints from XYZ manufacturer on how they're either slow to repair or they're charging them for repair, or their warranty sucks, whatever. It's pretty nice to see that it's not a limited lifetime warranty. It's like no questions asked lifetime warranty. Break it, they bought it. So, cliff notes, you got a 7.6 inch length can, 18 ounces, 5.56 only, full auto rated, no barrel length restrictions, lifetime warranty. Comes in at $1,000 minus the $200 tax stamp for my Patreon members. And the tone is low and pleasing. Gas, not the best. I have shot other cans that exhibited less back pressure, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't beating up the gun or my face. I just did get a little gas here in my right eye as I was shooting nose to charging handle. Other than that, I'm not going to spoil you too much. I know, I already shot it. Joke's on you, but I don't want to spoil too much. I want you guys to kind of go about it in your own way. Unfortunately, Siege will not be at Suppress Fest, so you cannot hear this in person unless you have a dealer that can do a demo for you. If you are in the Tampa Bay area, hit me up and I can probably make that happen. So without further ado, let's hit the range and then we'll circle back and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. Before we get shooting, a quick word from our sponsor, Capital Armory. They're the nation's largest silencer dealer and have expanded their silencer shipping ability to multiple states, with even more on the way. They can still ship directly to Texas residents, but they can now deliver silencers directly to your door for those in many other states. The process is simple and keeps everything in-house. So there are no additional dealers, transfer fees, or headaches. They manage the entire process from start to finish to make your life easier. The process is very simple. Once you purchase a silencer online through their website, you'll be contacted to begin your online customer profile to provide them with fingerprints and other necessary information to complete your e-file Form 4. After the ATF approves your form, Capital Armory will initiate electronic transfer paperwork with you, and your silencer will be mailed directly to your front door. And the best part is, your customer profile only needs to be done once, so you'll be ready to go for all future orders. Head to capitalarmory.com today to learn more. A little gas. You know what? You shoot at the 75-yard berm from here. Just for shits. All right, conclusion on the Siege Suppressors ROC556. Let's start with the back pressure mitigation, we can call it. I've had better suppressors exhibit less back pressure than this one. However, it is a lot better than your typical traditional baffle stack. I want to get that out there. I would call it middle of the road in the, hey, my suppressor has less back pressure than yours class. That make any sense? As far as its sound projection, that's where it really shined. It did a very good job of projecting the sound pressure away from my face as a shooter, and I was not getting a lot of ejection port pop. So yes, it is lower back pressure than your traditional baffle stack type suppressor. Flash mitigation did very well. I didn't really see any jetting when I was in the post-editing phase, and of course I didn't see it on the range. We were shooting in bright sunlight and I was still getting fireballs when I was shooting unsuppressed. So this thing was doing a lot of work. As far as the tone, I mentioned it earlier, very pleasing tone, very low tone. Now, when you have a lower tone, you can typically hear it as an onlooker at a greater distance from the shooter. What I mean by that is the lower the frequency, the further away you can hear it. Kind of like a subwoofer in a car when you hear it coming down your block, versus a higher frequency pitch, more annoying to the human ear, but it drops off faster over time and distance. You typically can't hear it that far away. That being said, I'd rather have a lower pitch tone all day and twice on Sunday. It just sounds better to me. I don't really care what it sounds like to somebody that's watching me. So, which again, it's going to sound better to an onlooker because it's a lower tone, but you can probably hear it a little further away. That being said, we're shooting at what, 65 yards at the opening scene of today's review. It sounded great. As far as the supersonic crack of the bullet, of course, nothing we can do there. Nothing I can help you with there. But if this gives us any insight to the technology, I'm excited to see what else they can do. And they already have a 7.62 model and a 22 model out there. So I am very eager to hopefully get those on the channel shortly for you guys to give it a full rundown. Again, sad face, they're not going to be at Suppress Fest this year. That does suck, but hopefully with some traction with this video and other videos and people getting them in their local gun shops and doing range days, they'll get more traction and they can join us next year at Suppress Fest 2025. If you guys have any questions, again, I do stick around for a couple days after the upload to answer any questions you might have. Please feel free to just free fire away and I'll do what I can and answer what I can. I'll see you guys next week.